Come on over here.
Hi, Scott.
Now this is Scott Whitehead.
So you are the namesake for this wonderful Mr. Gustave Whitehead.
Yep.
But you're living at a whole different time, 90 years later or something to that effect. So tell me about your project.
Well, several months into school last year, my history teacher announced a competition. I decided I was interested in the competition itself, paired up with some friends, and at the last minute my friends dropped out. Well, I still wanted to do it, so I had to come up with a topic, and Gustave Whitehead popped into my mind and I decided to follow through with it.
But how did you hear about him? Had you ever heard Andy speak on the subject?
Several years ago, I did a genealogy project where I traced my roots, and as I was talking to my grandfather, the name came up, and I gave it some thought and put it in the report, but I didn't do a whole lot on it. And then now I remembered it and I decided to follow through with it more.
So is he in your genealogy? Is Gustave Whitehead part of your past, or is it
I'd like to say yes.
I'd like to think you would.
I can't prove that right now, but I'm working on it.
Okay, that's a good thing to do. Well, tell me about the report then, exactly.
Well, the report was really a quick overview of all the evidence we have, and it really went to try to prove Whitehead flew.
That was your premise then? That's what you were trying to prove in the report?
Yes, I tried to prove that, and again, it's very difficult to do. But through several sources, I was able to do an excellent.
We all know he flew, though, because of the Bridgeport Post reporting about it in 1901. So we all knew that. So where's the hang-up on this thing? Is that we don't have any photographs of the man in flight?
Well, we have heard rumors of photographs of him in flight, and there have been people who say they've seen him fly, and so we're trying to put all this together and still looking for some solid evidence.
Well, with as many people as you, with all this interest working on this subject, I think we're going to succeed. I really do.
Well, we have to do more than just build the airplane and more than just do reports. A lot of this is political, and that's where Senator Gunther comes in.
Exactly.
He did a great job in getting us lots of help.
I would like to talk with Doc about it and get some of his views from his point and see what he can say to add to this discussion. So let's stop for a minute and do that.
Okay.
It's an added pleasure to have Doc Gunther with us today to add to this story. Hi, Doc.
Hi, how are you, Dolly?
How about you introducing yourself?
Well, it's easy enough for me. I'm the senator from the 21st District in the state of Connecticut, and that represents the towns of Shelton, Stratford, and part of Monroe. I've gotten involved in this little project here with Andy and them because close association I have with Kay Williams and his projects down here. This was very interesting because there's many people in Stratford, incidentally, and in my district that have had a long history of being involved trying to take and get some recognition for Whitehead. I never really got deeply involved in it until these people started to build the plane. And when we got in here and talked to some of their experts and that, and seeing the type of work they were doing, the type of research they were doing, the type of documentation that they were doing.
It's very thorough, I know.
Very thorough. so that I felt that there ought to be something other than this. And this man, and reading over Randolph's books and the various books that have been published on Whitehead, I thought this man deserves his place in history. If there's anybody that watches this program and has any documentation whatsoever from Whitehead, as Andy said before, let's see it. We may not have it, but it might help.
Great. Thanks so much for taking the time today. It's been fun. Andy, was there anybody else who's been credited with father of flight before the Wright brothers?
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, the secretary of the Smithsonian, Samuel Pierpont Langley, was considered to be the father of flight back in the good old days previous to the Wright brothers. And what he did was he had a model that flew very well, a model powered by a steam engine. And when he made a full-scale replica of this model, he tried to fly it off of a houseboat, launch it off a houseboat, but it went into the Potomac River. And he did this on 2 separate occasions. And this was just a short while, a few weeks, as a matter of fact, before the Wright brothers flew. So he was considered to be the father of flight, and the Smithsonian considered him to be the father of flight even after the Wright brothers flew.
It seems a shame, though, that everybody's arguing over who the first person in flight is, when we maybe should be concentrating on giving credit and investigating and learning more about all these early experiments.
Well, I agree with you on that. I think we should look into a lot of these other men, but since Gustave Whitehead is our main interest here,
Because he lived here, of course.
This area, we certainly would like to see him get credit for what he did. And a lot of the people in this neighborhood did see Whitehead fly up and down the streets, and why the Smithsonian doesn't believe that, I find it, I just don't understand.
I was very taken back with that myself at that original lecture that I heard in 1982, you tell me, when I heard some eyewitnesses sitting around me telling me that they were present.
They saw Whitehead fly on different occasions.
And that
sure.
fascinated me, and that's why I've still been interested to today to know more.
Well, let's find some pictures of him in the air and someone's diary describing it right here in this Bridgeport area, and I think that'll be pretty good proof.
Be a big help. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks, Dolly.